256,000 blocks wide. By far the largest world download created in Minecraft history. We have a lot to cover today. It was on February 26th, 2022 that this world download was released to the public, and just minutes later, I was already downloading it. This thing takes up over a terabyte of storage, and took over 2 days to download on a gigabit internet connection, and extracting the zip file took even longer. But once I had that out of the way, I now owned the largest Minecraft map ever publicly released, just surpassing my Anarchy server. So how did these guys even pull this off? Well, we need to take a step back to October of 2020. A player by the name of Lamp had an idea to extend the existing 100k world download to 256k with the intention of creating a public archive for anyone to download. Thanks to a Boatfly exploit being available, Lamp quickly gathered the same people that helped with the old world download and began this new download project. The whole operation was extremely organized. Like the previous 100k world download project, the map was divided into 25,600 block wide sections that were assigned to various helpers. Then each player would travel out to the center of a section and start using a mod that automatically loads chunks in a spiral pattern. This was also combined with a world downloader mod. Once a section was complete, the region files were sent off to another project member, DePorkchop, to be combined into a single map file. As the downloading continued, a few volunteers ended up re-downloading the older 2018 sections to bring everything up to date. Most of this area was done with an Elytra Fly exploit that allowed for infinite flight with no durability loss. This exploit required the player to slowly accelerate, but would reach a top speed of 244 kilometers per hour. But because all those chunks were already generated, they loaded a lot faster, which reduced the chances of being stopped and having to speed up all over again. These sections took about 2 days each to complete. Now for the outer sections, Boatfly was mostly used instead, because there were lots of new chunks that took a long time to load, therefore constantly stopping anyone using Elytra Fly. Even though Boatfly was slower, it didn't require the acceleration like Elytras did, which made it perfect for these sections. Eventually, Housemaster patched the Boatfly method used by most of the server, but a bypass was quickly found. The way this exploit worked was to constantly dismount and remount the boat in midair. However, 2b2t would often lag, causing the player to fall out of the boat and die. So many of these bed setups were made to respawn the player right on a tripwire, which would automatically place a new boat that can be used to continue the download quickly. Now because this world download was so much larger than the last one, new chunks started to become more prevalent the further you got from spawn, and this was a greater issue than originally expected. It was discovered that having more players downloading at the same time didn't improve the speed, but actually slowed everyone else down. This is because 2b2t has a global hard limit to how many new chunks can be generated per game tick, as a way for Housemaster to better control the quickly growing server size. Then, on September 2nd, 2021, just under a year since the start of the project, the 256k world download was finally complete. But they weren't in a hurry to make it public yet. While it was still private, the contributors wanted to get as much information out of the download as possible. Using a program called Save Searcher, one could get a list of coordinates for a specified block type within a Minecraft world. Of course, the first thing that was tried were shulker boxes. In this plot map, the larger the circle, the more shulker boxes there are, which usually meant the location of a dupe stash. And some of them actually went to those stashes on the live server, and well, trolled them. But aside from stealing dupe stashes, some really interesting data, discoveries, and visualizations have been made from this world download. One incredible discovery was the undeniable proof that 2b2t's current map was actually reset at one point. You see, 2b2t opened in December of 2010, but the current map being used today actually started in February of 2011. How did they know? Well, the group used a program to determine which version of Minecraft certain chunks were generated in. The oldest chunks they found were from a CraftBukkit release of Beta 1.2, which became available on February 9th, 2011. This also somewhat lines up with an email from Housemaster discussing this. This map was also made, showing a timeline of chunks being generated during 2b2t's version changes, And from here, another discovery was made. 2B2T's world seed has actually changed 4 times since the start of the map, occasionally switching back and forth between game versions until it eventually switched back to the original seed we have today. Now with this world download, sign data has also been saved. This is a 3D plot map of just a section of the signs saved in the world download, because when I tried to load the whole thing, my browser kept crashing. Anyways, this public web app alone is extremely powerful. All you have to do is search for whatever term you want, and the program will point out every sign contained in the world download with the coordinates. If you want to find wheat, easy. Diamonds, no problem. And it would also be no problem to instantly snipe streamers this way. This was also certainly possible with the 100K download, but to an even greater distance now. Another interesting thing to note about these signs is the occurrence of certain words. This word cloud is a perfect visual representation of that. Of course, you have some of the most commonly used words in the English language, like have, I, or are. But I guess smiley faces are really common on signs? But also years and months are somewhat common, as people like to leave their mark on the server with a timestamp. Now, the most common username that appeared on a sign was a player by the name of SoloPlayer88. He explored a huge area around spawn, making him the ultimate nomad. A few types of banners were also identified and plotted, with some people going above and beyond, placing lines of banners stretching over 100,000 blocks. Now that's some player dedication right there. This other map shows some new chunk data that was recorded. Although it isn't a complete map, it still shows how ungenerated chunks become more common the farther you get from spawn, with of course the main axes being completely explored. There's also this map that shows every hole in the void. These are usually created by portals spawning at Y level 0, which replaces the bottom layer of bedrock with obsidian. This normally isn't possible unless someone happens to break a bunch of bedrock just above the bottom layer using a bedrock breaking exploit. I should also mention that 2B2T has a plugin that fills in any actual holes in the bedrock, but if they're filled in with any other block, the server turns a blind eye. Or it just doesn't even work at all. Now another interesting quirk is that terrain from older versions can also create holes from lava pools that spawn very deep. Some of these can become absolutely massive. Pretty neat. Now this just breaks the surface of what kind of data can be mined with this world download. It's pretty interesting to see what kind of information you can pull out of a world like this. Millions of hours have been spent playing 2B2T, so there isn't much of a limit to what you can discover with this. So I'll put a link in the description where you can download and explore this incredible world download for yourself. That is, if your hard drive can handle it.